Alrighty, of course, the second I go to hit record, look who walks away. Oh, is she coming back? Well, folks, welcome to episode 13 of the Rick Chappell podcast. If I got some new viewers, that's Kevin. This week I actually got subscribers, which was cool. Let's pop those on so I can fully participate. Oh, and turn down the reverb a little bit. It's not always that epic, but that was your epic intro. Okay, now let's, actually though, no reverb. We don't need that. Didn't even have the guitar, just wanted to get the cat in there. I do this every Sunday for those joining. This Sunday, maybe your first. The guitar has lots of echo, and that's because I don't play it much, and I kind of just let it beep and boop around in the background while we chit-chat. Like that. So, what else can we chat about? We'll talk about the guitar, because that's always a thing. But I do want to talk about those subscribers, because look at me growing a YouTube channel. On my way to 500, that's the, next target I got there. And in the last 7 days, I got 16. So that's a chunk, We're at 430 something. And most of that I can attribute to my Fender Tone Master review. Yes, hello, Kevin. I know the dryer's on and you don't like it. Such a picky little kitten, that one. But yeah, I did that review of the Fender Tone Master, which I think I blabbed about at the end of the last podcast even. Oh, the continuity. There was a lot to review in that thing. Like, it's a very all-in-one type guitar unit again. Those are the things I've been reviewing so far, because I think they're the most useful, right? And I've been an Axe Effects guy for so long that I'm not going to change my ways basically ever, I think. But it's fun to try the other stuff out. There's always fun presets that, do a weird sound. And you know what? I think I'm going to resort to it. Oh, that's right. We're bringing out the pop filter, babies. I hate the blockage of the camera, obviously. But, it sounds better, doesn't it? See? Another thing we're going to talk about this week is this new microphone. This may be its only podcast appearance. This may be the podcast mic of the future. I don't know yet. This is time number 1 using it in this context. I've also got it running through my whole, typical singing chain. So there's, an external mic pre and all that stuff. We'll get into technical things later. What else is on the list? Because we're going to definitely add that to the ending there. Because I got more plans to spend more money. The other thing I'm going to pat myself on the back for right there is on YouTube, that Tone Master review has 1,000 views already. So that's rad. That's a record kind of growth for one of those videos for me. And I got a bunch of subscribers from that one. So cool. And the other thing we're going to do, I wanted to make this a thing. Check out comments on anything that I've done for the past week here on the YouTubes. Okay, so how can I look for just a week? There we go. 8 days ago, can I use this if I credit you? That was on my Nickelback Burn It to the Ground cover. Of course. I don't know, I don't own that in a way because it's copywritten obviously by Nickelback. But yeah, you can try. I have nothing against you using my cover for anything. That's cool. That was a guy named Kingpin_Ace. Next one is also on the Burn It to the Ground cover. That was when did I do that? Months ago. I just kind of crapped it out of nowhere. I love Nickelback. No shame in talking about that. I've met Chad a handful of times because he lives in my town and I work at a music store. So everybody needs guitar strings, it happens every once in a while. But one day, I think it may have been after he came into the store or something. That's usually when I play a bunch of Nickelback that day. I was thinking about Burn It to the Ground. I was I could probably play that. I used to know the riff. It's just in B. But I was maybe it's on a 7-string. I don't know. Let's try it out. So I did it on a 7-string and a 6-string because there's 2 guitars on it. filmed it, and then for the drums, I programmed them all. And that was like one of the first ones I had done in a long time with programmed drums like that. Where I was like, oh, if I just focus and sit down, I can go clickety clickety click and make the drums sound pretty good. Like, it doesn't sound as good as a human, but it works. I did play shaker on that. There's a bad shaker track because you can't program a shaker. Even if you're a terrible shaker player, you're better than a program. I don't know if the levels are that good this week. Sorry, I'm getting paranoid with the new microphone syndrome there. We've always got a million and one things going on. That's part of the charm of the podcast, right? Everybody else just like shuts up, you know, everything else they're doing and talks. And I'm like, no silence. But yeah, everybody can use the burn to the ground cover for anything. And what was the other comment here? Gotta say, I am genuinely impressed. If Nickelback ever needed a new singer, you'd be a perfect replacement. Good job. That is incredibly sweet. But I don't think I could ever picture that band without Chad. He like writes all the songs, doesn't he? He's like the main guy. I did respond to it on YouTube. I'm gonna do my best to respond to comments on YouTube, but it's a good segment for the podcast as well, I think, for now. That same person asked for a Hinder cover next. And yeah, I'm so down. They asked for Up All Night or Get Stoned, and I think Get Stoned's a better tune, so I'm gonna do Get Stoned. And yeah, I got a plan for that one. I will do that hopefully soon for you. Hannah Movies and Music. Somebody else commented on my Woodrow 55 demo, which is a UAD, Universal Audio Design, whatever you want to call it, UA effects guitar pedal that simulates an old Fender amp. And it was really cool. And he said, Altex forever, which is my kind of pick. So that man has very good eyes. Good for him. Now we're to the time where I posted the Fender Tone Master. The Fender Tone Master review. I'm not going to read all these because people are just kind of talking about technical specs of that, which is all important information, but I don't think most people care. People said nice things though, and that's always sweet. Somebody else commented on another one, I'm not going to say which one, that it is not quite there yet. They tried it out, they think it sounds great, clean, but the overdrive sounds like ass. And my demo is an honest representation of all these products, so you can go check it out, and if you think that all the pedals I do, one of them has overdrive that sounds like ass, maybe the overdrive sounds like ass. Then somebody else, like I think, accused me of running over my cat with my chair. It didn't happen. There's a camera cut, and she runs away a lot, but she does not get run over by the chair, so we're good. Also, poor little dude. No, Kevin is a she. It's confusing, I know, in this day and age. But that is girl Kevin back there. Okay, and then the one comment I am going to read, because it's like a technical one, and this person left a couple comments, so maybe they're actually like a good viewer, and they're going to check out the podcast as well. They were like, nice review. Would you perform an aliasing test, sweeps of like sine waves, and then compare it to an XFX3? I don't have an XFX3. I have a 2, and I've never done a test like that, and I'm sure it's scientific and genius, but I have no want to hear that, so I don't really want to do it. And also, I already returned the Tone Master. I just borrowed that from work for a long weekend to make the video. And I did that, so woo, it's over. I had a bunch of stuff to promote, but I don't feel like blabbing about that yet. Let's wait till it's later in this thing we're doing called the podcast. Let's talk about the spider on my arm, because you may have noticed that. Oh, and come on and hang out again, Kevy. I got a tarantula tattoo on my wrist for my not great-grandpa, good lord, just regular grandpa, but he was a pretty great guy, you know? He had a spider tattooed on the top of his... Kevin, what did you just eat? You saw that, didn't you? Hopefully you saw that. She just walked across the desk and ate something, but there was no food on the desk. I'm gonna watch that back, that's for sure. And now she's just meowing in the door. Okay, she's gone insane. She ate crazy juice, whatever it was. But my my aunt and uncle and I went and got spider tattoos for my grandpa because he passed away and had that one kind of thing. So it was a good throwback. And we all got different ones. I got this, clearly, as you can see. Which maybe you can see it if I play guitar like a weirdo. But my uncle got a bigger one that's more like cartoon and cool. And then my aunt got like a heart with a spider web around it. because she didn't want like a spider tattooed on her arm. She's like a small child teacher, so I don't know if all the little kiddos would love it. But yeah, everybody got tattoos and it was fun. I should do a thing where I like post the link of the artist, but this doesn't really go on Instagram, and they're only on Instagram, and their art is a lot better than this just like trace of a tarantula I asked them to do. So it's the Moody Tattooer on Instagram. Go check her out. I used to know her sister like years ago. It's funny, it's such a small town thing. Everybody's related to everybody or knows everybody else. But she did an awesome job is the part I'm trying to get to at the very end. It was funny because when I got there, the stencil was like this big, and I was like, no. Think of a coin, and then like, think of the biggest coin you've ever thought of, and then like half it. That's where we're going. And then we settled on that, and I think it's perfect. The angle is exactly where I want it. The size is exactly where I want it. It's a friggin' spider, dude. There's 2 levels to it of greatness for me. There's my grandpa's tarantula on his head, super obvious reference there for me. But also growing up, my uncle had a spider just because his dad hated it. And then, ironically, he got one tattooed on his head. But my dad also had one just because his mom hated it. So there's a lot of that kind of because we can energy going on, I think, in the whole fam jam. And speaking of fam jam, let's just segue right into the guitar. Because currently, as of episode 13, we are still doing a new guitar every episode. I can say with confidence I don't own still every guitar that we've done an episode with. I think the very first one was my Fender Mustaine, which was a vintage thing that I only owned for like a summer. And it was amazing, and I wrote a bunch of songs on it, but it wasn't for me, so I was okay just to kind of let go of it. But as of now, we've made it up to this 2007 model, I believe. Dean VMNT. Not an X, boys and goyles. As he flubs up a note, and the echo haunts him forever. No, this is the real VMNT, which means it is not a bolt-on. This thing is glued together like a real guitar. And it's awesome, man. Ebony board, 25.5-inch scale. I don't know where that feedback sound is coming from. I guess that was just a note that we really rocked for a while. Classic echo. But where do we start with this thing? I got this from my grandma in 2012, I think, 2011, somewhere around there. And I used it for like high school talent shows, and I auditioned for Canada's Got Talent with this thing. And right around then, that's when I realized that as much as I love it and it's so great, I gotta stop leaving the house with it, because it has a huge case, which is great. But being a V, and a pointy one at that, every point on this thing has taken a hit or been dropped, like by a guy in high school or me in high school, or you know what I mean. It's how that can happen when you're a teenager and you have a guitar with a thin poly finish and it's pointed as this thing is. But so good, so worth it. For a while, I'll like not even have this at home. I left it at my grandma's house for a long time. We're blabbing fast on this one, but that's the speed sometimes, boys and goyles. But I've had it at home for a while now because it's a great guitar, man. I've got it planned for a super heavy metal project that this will definitely see some use on. Because ironically, this is one of my favorite clean guitars. Like the overdrive is great. It's an active Seymour Duncan pickup system in it. It can crush and do the chugga-chugga-chug. But it's a very thin bridge pickup, so it's really bitey, which is a great sound, but it's very aggressive. But the neck pickup is just the exact opposite. It's this fat humbucker that, I don't know, there's so many boomer words to describe guitar tone, but it's like creamy. That's how, I bet on the box somewhere that adjective is used, so that's my justification. Hey, Kev. She started to play guitar a little bit. Not on camera, of course, But every once in a while, if I'm on the computer, really? Yeah, this is my co-star. She doesn't fit most of the places she used to fit because she is growing, as tiny as she may be. So, yeah, she's... Okay, that was adorable. She's never done that before. Cutting out that clip for sure. But she hasn't played guitar on camera, is what I was trying to say. She will paw at it and then start to lick the strings. So it's kind of weird, but I'm trying to film it one day, or at least record the sound, because, hey, if I can credit the cat as playing guitar on a song, that's the best credit ever there. What else can we talk about? Okay, I should talk about something to promote. I still have like 5 copies, I think. It could be 10. Of my last CD left. It's called Black Tie Affair. I don't have one on the desk. We're seriously running out. I have a plan to press more, but I kind of want to sell these last ones first, and also that money would like maybe help a little bit if you catch what I'm saying there. Head over to Chappell.com. I have a little store set up there. I'll ship to wherever. It's cheap. It's whatever it is. Or if you know me, just like come see me at work. I'll give you one. But yeah, the album's great. Go listen to it. You don't have to buy it because it's on Spotify and Apple Music, and here's where we talk down the sales pitch there. You can just go stream it for free. There's some extra songs I'm going to put on the CD this time that are on streaming as well. Like I have another single called Work Night that it's pretty good, I think. So I'm throwing that on the CD just because why not? Like bonus track vibe, you know? I only made like 100 of the first edition of this one. And I'm going to keep one for myself, obviously. So like numbers are running out, folks. Get them while you can. Come on down. I also have a music video for that record that I filmed in January of this year and haven't edited. So I should get around to that. There's another project to work on. I should just find a way to make AI do one now, because that would be rad. I have fallen in love with AI artwork. It's just the best thing ever. People are great. We had to train AI, but then it replaced us. That bastards. Okay, that's enough of that one. We talked about the tattoo. We talked about my grandpa. Another thing I did for like an old man, not for an old man, I did like an old man, was I went to ZZ Top last night, man. The Top came to town. And you're never gonna not see Billy Gibbons play guitar. And speaking of Billy Gibbons, I work at a guitar store in town, kind of the good one if you ask me. And I thought that before I worked there, that's why I applied to work there. But I love it there, and Billy Gibbons has a quirk where he will just show up to guitar stores. So we're like, hey, there's a ZZ Top gig. It might happen, you never know. He's done it to like 4 or 5 of our stores in Canada, I think. Like it's not 0% chance, you know, this is gonna happen. And at like noon, I got a phone call. And it was a deep-voiced Texan man. And he inquired about a very specific see-through banjo ukulele for 289 Canadian dollars. And I let him know that I had one in my hand for him, and I was right behind the counter. I'll be here waiting for you. And I asked if I could put a name on it. And he told me it was last name Bond, B-O-N-D. And then he laughed a little bit. I said, thank you, will do. Looking forward to seeing you. And then a guitar tech came in and bought a ukulele for cash. But I talked to Billy Gibbons on the phone, man. I can at least say that. That happened. That was a very cool thing. And then that night I saw him headline an arena. And anybody who headlines in an arena, especially somebody who's been doing it for 50 fucking years, man, he's still one sharp-dressed man. Sad to not see Dusty Hill, the original bass player, of course. But, you know, he's not around anymore, and they're still kicking ass like nobody else, man. ZZ Top. He played his Les Paul for one song, which I understand because they're heavy as fuck. But they also played the furry guitars, so they did the ZZ Top and still, you know. They had some swings. They weren't as tight as Dusty would have been, but they had the swings and some of the, the ZZ Top, man. Oh, what a vibe. And like I said, man, they've been doing it for 50 years. That's just awesome. Hello again, Kevin. Way to bonk. Good for ZZ Top. Me and my uncle went. It was a good time, man. Thanks again for the free tickets. I definitely had to mention the phone call from Mr. Bond. Okay, what other details can I go into about this guitar? I have made a smaller YouTube video, like one that's a couple minutes long, where I talk about it a fair amount, and that one's got like thousands of views, so I should make more of those videos, I think. It was a series I was going to do. I started with the circle one back there, then I did this one, and then I stopped. But they have like 8,000 and 6,000 views, I think, respectively, so I should probably make part 3. Could be worth it. I know what guitar it would be. It's a blue one. And I'm pretty sure we've had it on the podcast already. It's my 80s Chappell. I almost sold it again last week to my coworker's girlfriend to give to my coworker, and I was like, I don't want to give her a good enough deal because I love it so much, and they've gone way up in value that it's just not the right one to sell it right now, but we got him something else that's awesome, and he loves it. It is a baritone Telecaster. So, like, so different than the Chappell is, but so good. Okay, we should talk about the Canada's Got Talent audition, maybe. That was a weird thing. It wasn't like the TV taping one where like there's a crowd and you're in a stadium. No. I went to like the hotel sleazy American Idol style sort of thing where there's no judges in there and there's just a video camera and a bunch of other people doing weird shit. And yeah, I just had this thing and like a backing track I made, and I just played tappy tappy tap, sweep 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 sweep. And then on the drive home, there was a new Devin Townsend acoustic album that had like just come out a week or so earlier. And this is back when Devin Townsend was not nearly as popular as he is now. So it came out on CD only, and you had to find somebody who like would upload it. Like there was no release date and there was no streaming yet. Oh my God, this is before Spotify and everything. I sound old. I'm telling the story to the kiddos right now, jeez. Well, anyways, on the drive home, it was a long morning, man. We had to wake up early and drive like all the way out to Vancouver to do this. And it was awesome, but it was a long day and tiring. So on the drive home, I just like fell asleep against the window of the car, like in the back seat, listening to that. And I remember he had a version of In Awe or E-Aw. And it started with like a 30-second insane tapping guitar solo, and I remember just like coming in and out of being asleep and hearing that for the first time and being like, God damn it, that's more impressive than what I just auditioned with for sure. I'm totally not in that. But fun times. And there always seems to be a couple stories about these guitars as I whip them out for the podcast. What else is there? Oh, it's got a Strapping and Lad sticker on it and some Sharpie scribbled on it. That's a Devin Townsend signature. As you can tell, in high school I had a favorite musician. Still do, the guy's amazing. But in my vinyl class, I made a Strapping and Lad sticker, and it fit this perfectly, so I was like, hell yeah. And then the first time I met Devin Townsend was at like a record store signing, and I bought a bunch of records from that record store, so they let me get him to sign them all. And then I was also like, hey, do you mind this guitar? Like, it's a Dave Mustaine model, it has nothing to do with Devin Townsend, but he still signed it. And ironically, I have I've mentioned this before. I have 2 Flying V's that are both signed by Devin Townsend, but because I still play them and they're still like guitars I use, this one, my leg has worn off the D of the Devin, and my 7-string, like the actual Devin Townsend 7-string I have that's signed by him, is signed up here instead of down there, and because I played it, my hand is worn off like the Evan part. So between the 2 guitars, I have one signature that says Devin, which is hilarious to me. That one I didn't get signed. Like it came to me that way, and I didn't really pay more for it for that fact either, so good deal. This one means a lot to me because my grandma bought it for me. I love it so much. And then also it's signed and I got the sticker on it, and I did my own thing with it for sure. And I think they have gone up in value a little bit. He's got the Gibsons out now, and the Kramers and everything, and they're awesome. This one is designed a little bit different than even the Kramers, I noticed. The fret access is different. And then the Gibsons I haven't played yet, so I don't know how awesome they are. They look different, though, and cool. So he also just came out with a Gibson Explorer. I'm stoked on the new Gibson Explorer I have, so I have no want for another one. And his knob layout is like this, which I think is awesome, but not my favorite on an Explorer-shaped body, so Gibson's making the 80s Explorer right now, which is exactly what I wanted, so it's exactly what I got. That said, it has no strings and no hardware on it right now because I ripped all the tuners off and ripped the bridge off to swap it to black, because that's how it should be. It's a black Explorer, man, come on. And because of the way the store I ordered the bridge at works, I placed my order like a week ago and nobody's put it through yet because they wait for like, I think they do it once a month or so. I don't know. I don't fully understand that part of it. It's just a website that I could order it from myself, but I got a better deal that way, so I gave it a go. But yeah, fun times. That guitar is going to be awesome. It may be the first guitar to make a double appearance, because as soon as it's back in black, I'm going to do another podcast with it, of course. And I did that a long time ago. I think that's the podcast where I had a roommate and they walked back in because this was their room, but I still had all this stuff in here. Like, we just shoved a bed in the corner and I was like, you can be there for a month, it's fine. And they came home while I was in the podcast. So, you know, scroll back, try to find that, you eager 40 or so weekly listeners. What else is there to chit chat about? I wrote down more things. We're 20-ish minutes in. This Monday, I am planning to go to a jam session type thing. There's a local pub that does a like an 80s metal jam night. The band called Dirk Diggler. One of my coworkers is in it. But anybody can get up and play basically whatever they want. It is an open mic, I guess. But like, there's a band there that knows a bunch of songs, and if you want to sing one of them or play guitar on one of them, that's kind of more what it is. Or if you guys all know how to play your instruments, like you can bring your whole band and play a couple songs. That's more of the vibe. And it's awesome. It's a bunch of good dudes, and other people show up that are awesome too. This time, one of my coworkers is leaving, so I think a bunch of us are going to try to go to like jam together a little more so than we ever get the opportunity to. And I think I need to learn after this podcast, I need to learn how to play the Ace of Spades on guitar, because I've signed up to sing that one at the very least. But my one buddy is going to drum on it, my coworker, so I've never gotten to jam with him. Stoked for that. Marcel, the guy who is unfortunately going to be leaving the store, he'll be playing with us for sure. I'm going to make him no matter what he says. And then I can sing it, and then if I play guitar on it too, we just need a bass player. I would love for my manager to show up, but I think he's doing some stuff or whatever. That would have been awesome, man. The full band of coworkers there. Playing Motorhead like the rock and roll store we are. Who doesn't love Motorhead though, man? Come on. What else did I sign up for? Whitesnake and Skid Row at the very least. Like, you give them some heads up if you can, right? Like, they got a whole night to plan. Now is the part where I blab about the new microphone. I think excessively, because it's going pretty well. I think I'm a fan. Our podcast now includes a pop filter. I'm sorry to the part of my brain that films and edits, but I'm thankful to the part of my brain that edits the audio, because I'm sure this is better than the other weeks, man. It is an AKG C414. I used to use on this podcast a Shure SM7B, the classic podcast microphone. Unfortunately, it's kind of become to be known. But I had that thing back in high school, man. That's the first microphone I ever bought. And it's been the only microphone really for me forever. I picked up, I've had like 58s and 57s for a live use and whatnot over the years. And then I had that vintage 55 that I'll still bust out for videos sometimes because it sounds pretty good. And it looks awesome. It's the Elvis, style microphone. Anybody who films audio should have one of those at the very least, because if you can get away with using it on a camera, it looks awesome. And then I had a copy of this AKG 414, a warm audio version, and it was great. It sounded fantastic. But then this came in to my work used, and I was able to trade in and trade up, And I did just such a thing. And it is also, I should mention, going into a microphone preamp. I did earlier, but now let's tell you what it is. It is a Rupert Neve Designs Newton channel strip. And it's amazing. It's got terrific clean gain, obviously. But I use all the features. The EQ is in a little bit. Hello again, Kevin. The compressor's in a little bit. The silk is cranked way up because it sounds awesome. Then I have it compressed more in my computer just because, I'd rather not overcook it on the way in. I sing through the same channel, so you don't always want maximum compression on every voice. But you definitely do in the podcast world. That way I can whisper shit like that, and that's just as loud as me talking. Speaking of which, I should definitely grab some water here. I'm going to hook up the back in 5 thing if it still works. Give me a second. Is this it? And we're back. And Kevin is right in the way, of course. What do you do, though? I mean, it's my goal to have the kitten in this as much as humanly possible because I feel like that's just good for the internet and me. Come on. You want some cuddles? She's been very affectionate lately. It's been awesome, but weird. She's also been terrible. I think just last week I was talking about how she's got like the serious zoomies, I think, at this point. I think kittens might get like a terrible 2 phase. She's like a year and a half. Maybe she's ahead of schedule. Stop bonking the microphone. That's for me to do. You can bonk me. Bonk away. Okay, up you get. Her one favorite spot is definitely behind my head. And I'm so cool with it. But she's not that big yet. Oh, I can take these off actually so she doesn't fall too bad. She's not so big yet that she can do this and like flop. So instead, I just get stabbed, with nails because she's a little bit nervous to be here. But it's so cute, man. And she's purring so loud in my ears. This will distract anybody, but definitely the guy who's trying to think of cool shit to say. Hello. What? She's right in my face there on that one for those just listening. Also, we busted out the full-on water jug. Because when you wake up and then just watch stuff on YouTube and Netflix for a couple hours and then decide to talk for an hour straight, your voice just kind of goes, "What the fuck?" And it takes a minute or two. Doesn't it, Kevin? Have you done anything amazing this past week we can share with the audience? I don't think so. She's just been actually cuter than normal. That's been cool. Don't. That's my pen. Oh, kitty cats. Let's not have a computer accident there. Can I tell you kitten Kevin stories? What have you done that's been really adorable? Or how did I get Kevin? Let's share that for a little bit there. The same uncle I went to ZZ Top with, the only one I got, has a cat that lives outside his place. So not really his cat, but it's his cat, I guess, who just keeps getting pregnant by random other cats that are in the neighborhood. And then he's got some indoor cats, so he's like definitely a cat guy. But when the mama cat has cats, she just keeps leaving them by his house, basically, is what happens. So Kevin's one of them's. Full-on outdoor wild cat. The littlest one of any of them. But, like, that's what makes her the cutest. Also, she's all black. Like, she has maybe 2 or 3 white whiskeys under her armpits. You know what I mean? Like, she's little with the whiteness. That said, she is, like, so pale. If you, like, scratch her and see her skin, it would be so hilarious to see Kevin without fur. I will never do that to her. But, what a terrifying, terrifying sight. let's bring the guitar back. That's part of the thing we do on this podcast, is play guitar. This guitar is an open C, because it's signed by Devin, and I've used it for Devin Townsend type things for this whole time. And usually, actually, I'll bring this one up to drop D. It spends a lot of time in drop D or standard because the scale length I love so much. It makes the strings nice and tight. And for whatever reason, this guitar's always felt a little bit tighter than other guitars too, like in terms of string tension, but in a great way. Wow, I have like cat hair in my nose and in my eyes and everywhere. I wonder how that happened. Kittens, man. What's another story about this guitar? Oh my god, I used this for a talent show that went hilariously poorly. Or I tried to use this for a talent show that went hilariously poorly. This was grade 11, I think. Yeah, grade 12 went well, grade 11 didn't. So I must have... Yeah, I got one redemption shot, remember that. But anyways, the one that went bad, I walked out on stage. I had like an acoustic, an electric, and a piano song planned. Like all in one song. I was going to go from one to the other to the other. And as soon as I walked out there, the first thing didn't work. And I was like, oh, if that... Because of the way it's routed, if this part's not working, I know it just didn't work. Like the computer just basically took a crap. So, time to think of something new. So there was an acoustic guitar for a part of it that I had planned. So I was like, okay, I'll just retune the acoustic real quick and do a song with that. Just no extra. I don't even have a microphone at this point because that was tied into how I did everything and it all failed. And so I'm just in the theater at school talking loud. Basically doing a version of this. And yeah, retuned, did a Devin Townsend song, but halfway through it I broke a string. Because that's just how nature takes its course there. So then we went to the piano, because I still had some time to kill, basically. And I played a bunch of Wicked Game by Chris Isaak. And the piano was fine. That went okay. And I ended up coming second in the entire competition still. So we did alright. But this guitar was supposed to be used for that, for the electric guitar portion. And yeah. Didn't happen. The redemption shot I got is on YouTube, I think at least most of it is. And that's just me playing shreddy stuff along with some drums and whatnot, and that was a fun one. At some point I should like prepare the podcast better and have video clips to share with you, and I could be self-centered and they could all be about me, or I could have those awesome ones of like people getting hurt and killed in China by like working factory jobs. Who doesn't love those, right? Violence. Then the podcast will be all about heavy metal at that point. I can see where that might go. Also, I'm just now doubting this angle because I get super critical of it when I'm watching it, because it's always got to be better, man. Why did I zoom out that last little bit? We'll fix it in post. Shouldn't have brought it up. Hopefully you'll never even notice. Every week is sounding better and looking better than they have in the past. It's trying to start with a better, shorter haircut that's less floppity and blocking the camera. But man, even having short hair and trying to put gel in it, or not gel, I hate gel, but like, I don't know, a waxy thing or any kind of stuff. You know, you need some goop to have a hairdo. I hate it so much. Not because I hate doing it, I just don't like it in my hair usually, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to feel like there's anything in there. So, there's my complaint for the week. I was thinking about doing a segment of this about just all my gripes on things, but that just seems like not a fun time, you know? This could very quickly turn into the Bill Burr Monday Morning Podcast where I'm just insanely aggressive the whole time. If I ever get ad reads, I can bet I'll get aggressive about those because I hate reading things. So I can see myself in those clips of his. Usually I spend some part of my podcast talking about other podcasts. What can I talk about this time? I just watch comedian ones. That's pretty much my whole thing. And the huge ones too. Like, I don't have any special taste that has found something super cool that I should shout out you don't know about. But like Bad Friends with Bobby Lee, I've always loved Bobby Lee. All the Your Mom's House stuff, with the exception of like one show. There's one I don't like. I won't throw it under the bus, but I've never seen more than the first couple episodes because the host wasn't for me. But man, All the other ones are so good, and I'm gonna do my best not to mention them all by name. The other one that's not on the Your Mom's House channel, that is clearly filmed in the same building though, that I love the most, I will say for sure, is Where My Mom's At with Christina P. That's my shit, man. I like that one a lot. It comes out the same day as Two Bears, and I love Two Bears, but like I'm always torn which one to watch first. Lately, it's been Where My Mom's. I feel like they could use that extra view, man. My one view matters. Feels like it matters more than my one vote. I've always felt that way. Show your YouTubers their support. Your support. Am I begging for my own subscribers at this point? Of course. But I think the 40 weekly podcast listeners are probably in that 400 subscribers I already have. So thank you, folks. I enjoy making these things. And it's a good way just to, like, especially with the podcast I found, and doing them weekly, I do have stuff to share still. Like, we haven't made any progress on the record in a couple episodes. But still, I got a friggin' tattoo. I got some cool guitars to share. There's always some stories about those. So, I hear good reviews too from those. So, hey. Thanks for checking out the Rick Chappell podcast. We have 20 minutes-ish left. And I'm realizing usually I write down 10 things. I wrote down 8. And this last 20 minutes would be a great time to go over point 9 and 10 on my non-existent list. Anything else fun happen at work? No. Nothing's gonna top Billy Gibbons on the phone, man. That is so cool. I have a Billy Gibbons guitar pick too. One more story I can share about that day. We had a kid come in. There's a bunch of people coming in all day, obviously, that were going to see ZZ Top. But right near the end of the day, there was a kid coming in playing just ZZ Top riffs, and he had the hat on and everything. I was like, yeah, we know what you're doing tonight. It's going to be awesome. And he was not a bad player, too, so it was fun to hear him, play Tush and Legs and all those fun riffs. And he knew Just Got Paid, and Just Got Paid is a good one to play. And he knew how to play it both ways, so good for that kid. But I even tossed him my Les Paul at one point. I have one hidden in the back I'm slowly paying off. And, yeah, it's awesome. And he liked that too. I gave him the Billy Gibbons guitar pick to try out, all that fun stuff. I was the good salesman for a bit there. I enjoy being the good salesman, or just the good guy for the kid who wants to come in and play guitars. The not nice people that come in, I'm not the best with. I've been talked to about that. But I don't like people that are mean, man. And yeah. We live in a odd part of town. Me and a couple coworkers there, and the store is also in my part of town. So shit happens. Oh, there was a stolen car out front. That's another story I can tell. Turns out it wasn't stolen, but we'll see where you fall on this one. So I get to work late on Friday. Not late, I'm just on like the later shift, So I come in like right around noon there. And there's a Tesla parked out front of our front door. And it has 3 tires on it. The back right one is just gone. Like, it is bald as can be and blown out. Like, not it like hit a rock. Like, this thing is a racing slick. And then there's cords and like, it looked like somebody whacked something hard. Also, there's a massive dent in the back quarter panel. Like, this it's fucked up. So I text the police non-emergency line, because you can just text the police out here, so that part's kind of dope, I guess. And it's way faster than calling. And I was just like, hey, there's this white Tesla, here's the license plate number. Looks like it's been in an accident. I think it's just abandoned in front of my store. It's been here for a while now. Heads up. And they're like, oh, it's not stolen, so thanks for letting us know, but it's of no interest to the police. And I was like, all right. And then it was there all day. And then the next day, like maybe 6 o'clock-ish, like later in the day. No, not 6 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock-ish. Later in the day, 4 guys show up in a black Tesla, park behind it, get out. They're like giving her the once-over. They're like, okay, that tire's... I don't know what they're saying. I can't hear them, but they can see how bad it is. They bust out a jack. The car's too low because it's got, 1 less tire on it. The jack doesn't fit under it. They grab some concrete, you know, like whatever, they were resourceful men. And backed it up on the concrete, jack it up, leave a guy there with the jack just like playing on his phone with his car in the parking lot, leave with the tire and the wheel, come back, new tire mounted, plop her down, drive away. As mysteriously as it arrived, it departed. The friggin' Teslas, man. They come out of nowhere. Literally. I don't get it. I had a customer ask if it was a good part of town that day, and I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, are you successful? And I'm like, yeah, we're doing good in here. It's a good store. And then he was like, what about the area though? I'm like, oh, terrible. I think that car is stolen. This is not a good area. And it was great to have a visual aid for that moment for that man. See, this is why you write down number 9 and 10, Rick. I can't bring myself to make these episodes shorter than 50 minutes. So let's see if there's anything else I can shout out for the last sort of 5 or 6 here. I want to sell those last couple copies of the CD, but more so just listen to it if you have the opportunity, you know, on the streaming things. Or buy it if you like it. That's kind of what I'm getting at. But it's cool that nowadays you can just release music. Like anybody has the ability to hear these songs. They're on YouTube, they're on Spotify, they're on Apple Music, all for a nominal fee, you know. But they're all there. So I'm making more. I have a record that's half done right now and has been half done for about a month. I think today I'm getting around to doing some of the synths and stuff on one of the next songs, just because it's been lined up for a while and I should really get around to it, you know? And I have time, hopefully. I have no other YouTube video to film, and the podcast is right near its end, folks. But that'll be a fun one. That song's called Office Break, and if I release it on its own, the artwork will definitely involve a tarantula, let's put it that way. It's about a couple things, but the Office Break it's titled after, basically, is right before I worked at the music store. I didn't have a job for like 2 months, 3 months. I just took off from working, basically. I was not into it for a while, not doing so hot, you know? So hot. I was not doing so hot with the whole work. So it was time for a little break. And in my office break, my uncle and grandpa and I like finished rebuilding an old car of his, and it was super rad. So the song Office Break is very much about that little bit there, you know? A great summer. Pretty much the whole record is about, I can't say it's all about that, obviously, but that song is a big one. There's another song that's about a friend of mine's little sister's boyfriend who passed away. There's some heavier memories on this one that are really good, though. I think that song's great. Both of the ones I'm talking about, I'm really proud of those ones. And then there's some, happier tunes, of course. Oh, and I can't see my fingies. Oh, and neither can you because of the frickin' water jug. When you go out of key, the ambience means you're out of key for a good couple minutes. Most of this podcast has been in the key of C major because this guitar is in a C major. So if I hit an open string, I can pretend it's on purpose. Because they're all kind of fine. Can I, let's explain the echo sound just for a little bit there, because I have a feeling there might be some new viewers this week, which is cool. I'm using my Axe FX, of course. That's always getting used, basically. And it's a super echoey sound. It's full of delays and reverbs and compressors and courses and cool stuff like that. But that is just one half, maybe 1/4 of the full thing going on here. The output of that is going into my computer and you're hearing that, but another output off the back of that one is going into this echo pedal over here by way of another echo pedal down below. So there's a line 6 delay pedal, there is a Boss tape machine pedal essentially, and that just makes the, here I'll give you one big beep. As you can hear, a single note ping-pongs and goes on for a very long time. So this guitar has dirty knobs on it because I haven't used it in a while. So I can't do the beautiful like wow volume swells without it going, which because of the length of our ping-ponging beep, you'll know is a very long time. And you know what? The ping-ponging beep disappearing. Oh, look at that. It didn't even do the thing. Right as I said it was about to. I was kind of pre-warning you for that. I think it's about time we wrap up. Let's ditch the pop filter there just for the ending. It looks so much cleaner, but it sounds just that little bit worse when you hit it by accident with those plosives. Anyways, thank you for watching this episode. My name is Rick Chappell. I will make another podcast next week, and I have another 2 videos planned. I don't know which one's going to come first. One's a Hinder cover. One is talking about Eddie Van Halen and borrowing an Eddie Van Halen guitar from work and playing a lot of Eddie Van Halen. I'm thinking about Eddie Van Halen. I think that's going to be the next one. See you next week.